It's a beautiful day. It's so beautiful day. Last week it was a little bit chilly, but this week it will be beautiful, beautiful. Huh? Okay, we are on 1 more minute and then we will start. Okay, we'll start. Okay. I think a couple of students are still on the way, so I'm gonna wait a little bit more, then we'll start. Huh? All right. Oh, it's already 2:02, so well, it's great. It's great. It's nice to see you again. Okay. All right. So today will be a fun day. Okay, presentation day. So we have five teams, and all of 5 teams will present their simulations. Okay, simulations. So we're gonna start. Before starting presentations, okay, I have some announcements. The first thing, how to rank your simulation results. Okay, and as I already announced it, I'm gonna consider 2 dimensions of performance. The first thing, balance scorecard we talked about in the class. Okay, balance scorecard, and second one is financial measures. Okay, so if a team is good at balance scorecard and the other team is better in the financial measures, and these 2 teams are very similar, then I will give the tie rank. Okay, so if there's two first ranked tie teams, okay, the next team will be second. Okay? So it gives the curve effect. Okay? So I just looked over your numbers. Then I just find out actually DP is great performance. All right, Team DP has a great performance. Okay? And Team Chester too. Actually, these 2 teams, DP and Chester, was head-to-head competing against each other. So DP Chester, okay. DP is first in the balance scorecard and financial measures, and Chester is the second in both dimensions. Okay, but I have decided these 2 teams will rank in the first because their performance are very similar, very close. Okay, so DP Chester, okay, both teams will have the first rank, 100. Okay, great jobs. Okay, and the second rank is Team Erie, right? Second rank is Team Erie, and the third is Team Andrew. And the fourth is the Baldwin, Team Baldwin. Okay, so DP Chester, both teams the first rank, 100, and the second Erie, third Andrew, fourth Baldwin. All right. Okay. So this will be the curve, okay, of your rankings. So that is my best I can do, okay, to give a generous grade for you. Okay. All right, DP, yes. And one more news. Actually, these 2 teams, DP and Chester, okay, they did a really great performance. Actually, Chester in round 3 and 4, Team Chester was ranked in top high 99 percentile among the older teams in the simulations, which was more than 3,000 teams, 3,300 something, okay, internationally. So actually, more than 3,000 teams are competing against each other simultaneously. Okay? And Chester was high 99%, top 1% in round 3 and 4. Then Team Digby catch up, caught up. And then Team Digby conclude this simulation actually as a top 95%. High 95%, top 5%. Okay, this is a great performance, very, very impressive. So when you write up Team Digby, when you write up your resume, you can add up this achievement. Okay, so if somebody knows this simulation and then you have 95%, then they will appreciate it. Okay, they will appreciate it. So great, Team Digby and Chester, you did a great job, and other teams too, because the purpose of this simulation isn't running. Okay, so some teams are struggling, but it's still run a lot. Okay. All right, then please use Canvas to present to evaluate your presentations. Okay, please go ahead, go to Canvas, and then find BUS499B and presentation 4. Then you can evaluate. Okay, the team's presentations, including your team. Okay, we did this before, so we know that. Okay. All right. Okay, then this semester, because we are gonna conclude this semester, okay, today. So I wanna say everyone in this class, I just wanna say thank you. All right, thank you, because you did a great job in every dimension of this the class, and also some of you already sent me good words by emails. Because in the last week we just adjust a little bit schedule. Actually, we didn't. Okay? So we just follow the schedule of the syllabus. But anyway, I just tried to adjust a schedule, but we didn't because of my medical condition, conditions. Okay? So some of you asked me about my medical condition. So I feel that I need to talk about a little bit detail because it is related with the other class. Okay. My medical condition is fourth stage liver metastatic colon cancer. All right, so it's a colon cancer, the last stage. It is it already went through my liver. Okay, so I'm sorry, Nish. Okay? It's a very, very serious, very, very serious life-threatening situations. Okay, so that's why I didn't, control any schedule in the last week. Okay, but I'm very good. At fighting against with the cancer. All right, that cancer. I'm still running 4 miles or 6 miles a day. I'm still working 6 miles a day. So my physical condition is still very, very good. All right, but I'm fighting against with cancer. Okay. All right. Yes, I will. Okay. So you do your job. I will do my job. Okay. So I did my best to actually to teach you in this semester. We talk about strategy management in this semester. Okay. So you helped me a lot. All right, you have helped me a lot because I really enjoyed this class. Okay, I really enjoyed meeting with you. Okay, so without this class, actually, I had to spend a little bit boring time. So it's good. Okay, I will fight. Okay, all right. So in this semester, we talked about at the beginning of the semester, we talked about the definition of strategy management and environment, external, internal environments. Then we move to the strategy. Okay, 3 levels of strategy: department, business level, corporate level. Okay, business level, how to compete; corporation level, where to compete. Then we move to the application of strategy with the simulations. So you've done all the 7 rounds of simulations. Probably this time you have a sense about what the strategy is, how to formulate it, how to implement it. Okay. So simulation cannot be the reality. All right. the simulation, reality are different. But still, simulation is a good tool to run the reality. Okay? All right, so let's talk about your simulations. Okay? So Team Digby will go first, all right? Team Digby. Okay, so Olivia will be the presenter. Okay. So, any question, comments before starting the presentations? Okay. All right. So everyone's ready. All right. Please say yes. Everyone, please type yes if you are ready to start. Great. All right, then Tim Digby, please start your presentations as soon as you're ready.
So this is our presentation and the results. Jansen, me, Daniel, Jahil, and Nish are in the group. And for our strategy, it was really to introduce products each round that focus on low-tech market, but we wanted to remain open-minded though, in case we were not seeing the results we wanted from low-tech market, and adjust to high-tech market if it gives us better results. And then we wanted to reduce employee turnover and borrowing only enough money to invest in business operations to increase shareholder value in our leverage ratio, and then focusing mainly in the marketing and basic business foundations.
Okay.
This is kind of just a review over what our like low tech versus high tech looked like. A lot of our products looked like they were more high tech the last round, but it ended up being that we had more low tech market. And yeah, so that's for that. And so over here you can see like our results for each of the products that we introduced. And we introduced Daisy a little too late. I kind of wish we had introduced that earlier.
Okay.
Okay, so for the stock price, just as a disclaimer, we couldn't really remember what the last round we presented on, so we compared round 6 to the final round, which is round 7. So when we're talking about we improved between this round and this round, we decided just to do round 6, round 7, and then we compared ourselves to the other groups and overall. So in terms of the stock price, with that in mind, our strategy with the stock price was to distribute minimal stocks to fund our business. We had a significant increase of $49.50 in the time between round 6 and round 7. And we ended up overall in second place behind Chester. And I'll talk more about that in the next slide.
Okay.
So in this, you can see with this graph that it's close, but still Chester beat us with 155 and 83 cents stock price, and us with 143 and 44 cents values. So that was overall what we finished as.
And for our profits, we wanted to focus more on the high tech markets towards the end, just for the profit margins that we were seeing from them, and they helped us raise our profits by $11 million from round 6 to round 7, and round 7 finishing out at 35 million, just over it. And that allowed us to finish first overall in terms of our profit margins. And on the next slide, you can see where we compare to the other teams. We ended up finishing in first in terms of our profit margins.
Okay.
So for market share, we increased by from round 6 to round 7 by around 0.57%, from 32.58% in round 6 to 33.15% in round 7. With that being said, our company achieved the highest overall market share of 27.4%, which can be seen in the next slide, which shows like a team comparison. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, so with asset turnover, our asset turnover was the lowest compared to our competitors. The asset turnover is not bad. It just means that we were not as efficient as we could have been when using our assets and generating sales revenue. We completed round 7 with a 0.98, which was a decrease of 0.01 from round 6, where we finished at 0.99. Sad to say, but we finished last in this category. And you can see more in the next graph. So as you can see, we finished with a 1.4, while everybody else was above us. It wasn't by much, it's not like they had like a 2 point something or something like that. But still, we came last in this category.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Sorry, I was having slight technical difficulties. So I'm just gonna give you guys kind of the overall. So overall, where we ended up finishing, we forecasted margins from round 1 were a little low, but as we finished strong, we finished with a. I'm sorry, my laptop's doing a whole bunch of stuff. We ended up finishing strong with a good turnover margin. You can go on to the next slide. And where we ended up growing, we were kind of low on our forecasting, and our customer satisfaction was relatively low. But if we had continued to go on, we believe that both our forecasting and our customer satisfaction would have continued to grow, as well as our wealth creation, which was also kind of low compared to some of the rest. You can go to the next one. In our income statement, our sales ended at about $223,774, and if you look throughout the rounds, every round it increased it significantly. It was like a very significant increase. As a matter of fact, the increase continued to grow. As we grow, the increase grew, and our final net profit was about $35,164, and as you can also see down there, that also grew. Move on to the next one. And what do we end up learning from this? As our business grew, we just needed to keep track of our financial position, capitalizing on our demand in terms of stock price and our overall market share. And if we had changed markets from low tech to high tech, we would have been able to withstand the transitional cost of moving to market, as well as keeping a loyal customer base when introducing new products. When we introduce new products, it's always good just to make sure that the customer wants this new product versus the product that they already have, and that's probably something that we should have paid a lot more attention to, and I'm sure we would have done even better. And that's our foundation, so that our foundation is maintained. Overall, we gained a lot from this experience, and we appreciate it.
All right.
And that is it.
That's it. Any question, comment? All right. No question, no comment. Well done. Well done. Okay, it's great. Great presentations and also great performance. So Team DP shows the very the exemplary progress of the performance. So market forecasting. It is very, very important because you can calculate it from market. The good sense of market. All right. In the simulations, the total market and the segment was provided. So you use it. In the reality, there was no data, something like this. But good news is there is a white paper, white book. In each industry, most industries have their own white papers, white books. I don't know what they name it, but white books or white papers, something like that. Okay, white pages, probably not. Okay? So when you have your future job, when you have a job, if you go to the biopharmaceutical, biotech industry, then please purchase. Please purchase the book, white paper. Okay, or probably your company already have it. So just look through it. Okay? then you will have a good sense about your market. All right. It has a lot of necessary information you need to understand. Okay. Then you have a good sense about the industry. Then, based on that industry understanding, okay, you can do your jobs in the corporations. Okay. So, still in the reality, in the real world, there are some, available information. So use this. Okay. All right. So the next thing is, so no question, no comment, right? Okay. Team Andrew. The next thing is Team Andrew and Lacey. Lacey will be a presenter, right? Okay. Lacey, you're the presenter right now.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it. It is working.
Okay, so this is Team Andrews. We have Zion, myself, Lacey, Morgan, Hallie, and Addie.
Okay.
Okay, so for our simulation, we made decisions based on the broad cost leader strategy. And this strategy focuses on maintaining presence in both segments, keeping costs to a minimum, and increasing automation levels to improve margin and then decrease overtime costs.
The picture on the left here shows our accessibility and market share in the low tech segment upon completion of round 1. And the picture on the right shows our accessibility and market share in the low tech segment upon completion of round 7. From both of these pictures, we can see that we were leading in terms of accessibility in the low tech segment, and we even made great improvement from rounds 1 to 7, which is really awesome to see. Our market share after round 1 had the highest potential after round 1 in comparison to our competitors, and that did drop by round 7. We believe this is because we did not invest in enough capacity, which Morgan will talk about later during our HR and production results.
Mm-hmm.
We did make the decision to enter the high-tech market during round 5, mostly because of our broad cost leader strategy, which is maintain a presence in both segments. And also we made this decision because we were doing well, but not great in comparison to teams Digby and Chester. We had lost hopes of trying to outperform them. So we were really trying to outperform Team Airy, who had a presence in both the low and high tech segments. You can see that in terms of accessibility in the high tech segment, we were able to catch up to Team Airy, which was our goal. We'll almost catch up to them.
Okay.
Since we began the simulation using a broad cost leader strategy, we knew our prices needed to be very low, possibly the lowest out of all of our competitors. Therefore, we began with our price of $25 with our able product position in the low tech segment. After reviewing our results from round 1, we determined this was a bad decision because we had negative profits and our prices were much lower than our competitors. Our goal was to have low prices, but not so much lower than our competitors that we couldn't make profits. Therefore, in round 2, we raised our prices to $35 for our able product. At a price of $35, we were able to keep low prices in comparison to our competitors and also profit from our sales. We kept the price at $35 in round 3 because we did well in round 2 at that price. In rounds 3 through 6, we lowered our able price to $32 because we noticed that our competitors were lowering their prices and we wanted to make sure our product remained a low cost option for our customers. In round 7, we lowered our price just once more because we had competitors with prices as low as $28, but we did not think we could afford to lower our prices that much because we wanted to make sure we were still going to profit. We didn't want to do like we did in round 1 and have negative profits. In round 3, we made a new product in which we also kept in the low tech segment with low prices. We kept the price for able to at $34 through the rest of the rounds. And then in round 5, we made another new product, apples, which we created as a high tech product and set the price at $42. In round 6, we wanted to set a price that was lower for our competitors' price, where
We wanted to set a price that was lower for what our competitors' prices was in the high-tech segment so that we could still follow our strategy of maintaining low prices. We dropped the price to 40 in round 7 because we did not sell all of our capacity in round 6, and we wondered if this was due to our prices.
Okay.
So overall, we did a really bad job at keeping up with the growing capacity of our competitors. In an effort to keep debt and costs low, we failed to increase our capacity to keep up with the growing profits of our competitors. In the end, we were operating at the lowest capacity of our competitors on increasing our production overall by a couple hundred units. This is probably our biggest downfall of the entire simulation and kept us from being able to generate more profits. However, we had better luck at adjusting our recruiting spending and training hours to cut additional costs that occur with high employee turnover rate. In the beginning, we weren't sure how much money was enough, but after seeing our competitors' success with higher values in these categories, we decided to follow suit. After our first round, we began slowly to increase our spending as our profits began to increase. We went from spending roughly $500 in 20 hours of training to increasing it to $4,000 and 80 hours of spending by the end of round 7. This helped us to reduce our employee turnover ratio and increase our productivity index. As you can see here, we started out with a productivity index of 100% on round 2, which is when the HR category was introduced. And then by round 7, we increased it to 117.4%. And we also decreased our turnover ratio from 9.3% in round 2 to 6.8% by round 7.
So our main goal through the whole simulation was to keep all of our debt, liabilities, and material costs to a minimum. That way we could offer customers low prices while still generating revenue. One of the ways that we kept our total long-term debt really low was that we tried to refrain from borrowing money. Whenever we needed more money to make plant improvements, we would issue stocks to our shareholders. If we did end up borrowing money, which we did after the first round because we had negative profits, we would work to try and pay it off. As you can see here, our long-term debt was at $2,000, which was not the lowest amount of debt, but it was close compared to the other groups. One thing that we managed to do well was keep inventory low and cash relatively high. We were one of the higher portions of cash on the balance sheet survey after round 7. We also were the only company with AAA ratings on our bonds, which is the highest rating a company can receive, meaning they're unlikely to default on their bond.
All right.
I'm not sure why it's not advancing to the next slide. Sorry.
I can see it.
So overall, what we learned from our simulation is that honestly, despite wanting to adhere to low prices in our strategy, we should have raised it to a higher price to stay competitive to start out, as it was semi-difficult to recover from our poor start. Buying capacity at a higher rate, despite wanting to sacrifice debt, actually hurt us in the long run. So we definitely needed to do better in that category and buy more capacity. We do need to be less hesitant to make big decisions. I think as we got a little bit more timid as time went on because we did not want to put ourselves in the red any further, but I feel like we recovered pretty well there. And then we honestly need to learn how to borrow and to have some debt and be okay with it rather than trying to have as low debt as possible. But overall, I feel like we did pretty well, all things considered.
All right, because this is a simulation, you don't need to be afraid to have some debt. But in the reality, that is, it's a high risk. All right, good job. Any question, comment? All right, at this point, I want to point out this. Okay? So, departmental strategy, all right? Departmental strategy. Any departmental decisions influence all the department's behaviors, okay? Operations. Okay. So, finance decisions can impact all the departments, okay? Operation decisions, okay? and includes all the departments. So department decisions are interconnected, with each other. Okay, so it's like a net. Okay, it's a big net. Okay, so when you make decisions, you need to consider this interconnections. Great. Okay, the next team is Team Baldwin. Okay, so Adam will be presenter. Okay. So who will be the next? Team Chester and Avery, please let me know. Team Chester and Avery.
Is it showing our PowerPoint?
Yes, I see it.
All right, good.
So we're Team Baldwin, and as all of you know, we came in last place. So we're going to discuss all of our faults and try to explain why we did so poorly. So our initial goals were to kind of follow what we did in the practice rounds, which, if you remember, we wanted to stay in that high market share, and we wanted to focus on product differentiation and get as big of a market share in the high-end market that we could, and maintaining our low variable cost, which did not work out as planned.
So our original strategies, like Megan said, was to try and stick to what we did in the practice rounds because it was successful for us then. But after a couple of rounds, we figured we needed to add another product that could go into the low-end market and try and get some of that market into our business. About halfway through, we also figured out that we needed to up our marketing cost so that we could give our customers a chance to actually know what our products were. And towards the end, we noticed that we were producing way too much, and so we had a lot on hand, and that was causing us a lot of additional costs, so we ended up producing less in the last few rounds.
Just to list our failures, the first one, we majorly focused on the financial sector for the first 2 rounds. This obviously created tons of debt for us, and by that point, we tried to distribute money to resource and development, human resources, and production. Ultimately, we accumulated so much debt that we could not redeem ourselves. And one of the things I wanted to add is that our products ended up overlapping, causing a problem in our sales.
And so improving our strategy throughout the rounds, like they said, the first thing we did was to try to recreate what we did in the practice round since it was successful then. But then in the real rounds, it did not work. So we had to pivot our strategy each round, and we kind of just had to see what would be most successful for us. And then another thing, we weren't afraid to ask for help and guidance in this process.
So as we reflect on our mistakes and our failures, so obviously no company wants to fail when they start up, especially how we failed in this in CapSim. We mainly want to focus on our finances, but did not take that next step and use our money effectively. So while we wanted to try to separate ourselves through one market, yet again, like from the practice rounds, we obviously did not put ourselves in a good financial leverage to be able to put ourselves in one market. However, as we reflected on our CapSim and our failures, we all talked about how we can learn from this. Specifically, we tracked back to the first couple of classes of the semester where we talked about how big companies that failed. So of course, we're nothing compared to like Blockbuster, but we share a similar problem of failure. And as we do not want to make up excuses to why we failed, but at the end of the day, we realize that companies fail, big or small, and it happens frequently. Many startup companies do not get enough revenue and profits to continue to operate the next year. We happen to be one of those companies that failed, and we all agree that that was okay. And it stings that we struggled through all 7 rounds, but like I said before, we were okay with that failure. The whole point of CapSim was to simulate how to run the company and how to run the different departments of said company. The goal is to experiment ways on how to create a successful company and continue that success through multiple rounds. But however, in our shoes, our goal is to figure out how to pay off our increasing debts and keep ourselves above water, which we found extremely difficult. CapSim taught our group valuable lessons throughout the rounds we participated in, and one that stuck out was that CapSim was a way for us to be creative with how to make a successful company. And through our failure, we wanted to take this experience and apply this given knowledge to the real world and make sure that we're more aware of our market and our strategy as well. And that's it.
All right, great. Actually, Baldwin was struggling at the beginning of the simulations. So, but okay, think about that. Not just finance issues. Okay, most teams have a very similar issues. It starts most problems start with the market. Okay, so even it seems that like a financial issues, but if your forecast accurate, right, precise, then you have incoming cash flow as you predicted. Okay, your financial issue, your financing mistake was not so great. Okay? It is a still problem, but it's not was so like great. All right. So I don't know if you have the next chance to use this or in your job. Okay. Think about your strategy. Start from market, all right? The high level. Okay? Then you can down, and then make decisions. Okay? Make decisions following this, the higher level of situations. Okay, your strategy. Okay? So actually, your mistake was, not it's just focusing on the local issues, not big issues. Okay? So always strategy management start from market. Okay, so I just want to point out this. Okay, so no question, no comment. All right, so next thing is Team Airy. Team Airy. Okay, Patrick, you are the presenter.
Sounds good.
All right, Team Chester, who will be your presenter?
I'll be the presenter. Sorry, we just decided that.
So Cole, okay, Brooks.
Okay. We all get it shown correctly?
All right, Patrick, not yet.
Oh, it's not?
No, I cannot see it.
Oh, that's because I did not click share screen. My bad.
Yes, it's working. Yes.
All right. So we're going to make this nice and simple, Team Erie. So kind of the strategy that we went about was, especially during the practice rounds, we were just kind of testing the grounds on the high-tech and the low-tech platforms. And then kind of after seeing the results from those, we kind of incorporated what we learned and distributed funds to some of the high techs and the low tech, or we did like mostly high, mostly low, something like that, just to try to figure out a way that we can maximize the profits between the two areas. So for the R&D and the marketing, for the R&D, we kind of provided one product in the low tech and one product in the high tech. And then we based kind of the performance, the size, the MTBF, and everything else on like the customer preferences and information that we received. We really wanted to focus on that, so we kind of hope to align our products with what the customers really wanted. And then for the marketing, we kind of based, again, on prices, on the customer preferences. We focused a lot on promotion and sales budget. And we wanted to focus on this because we were hoping it would kind of increase demand and customer awareness for our products. And then, for the production, one product in the low sector, one product in the high, like I said. And then we kind of fluctuated with putting a little more money in the high tech versus the low tech. And then, something might have changed. We would transition to more money in the low, more money or less in the high, something like that. So we would evaluate the past rounds, so kind of what was going on at the end of that, what information we were given, and we kind of took that and based our future decisions on that. For the HR, we pretty much just focused on increasing recruiting spending and training hours each round. So we had, successful employees and stuff like that. For the finance, off the rip, we issued out a bunch of stock, so we didn't have any debts to pay or anything like that. We didn't really make a lot of finance decisions after that. But for the TQM, we focused on the CPI systems, channel support systems, CCE, all of that good stuff, just to kind of sustain everything that was going on.
And here we have all the results. Obviously, not the worst, not the best, but I just wanted a visual there for everybody else to see. And then, what we learned that a different strategy definitely would have helped us out. Having more products than the competition could have allowed us to reach more customers, and could have resulted in our business having higher sales and market share. We feel that the biggest takeaway from the simulation is that there are many different ways to compete in the market, and it's important to weigh every decision because there are many different routes to take, and some can be better than others. And obviously, the ones we took were not the best, but we learned from that, and hopefully can put that together in the future.
Yeah, some of them were good, some of them were bad. Good old stuff. And there we go.
All right. Okay. Any question, comment? Okay, good. Very simple, very concise presentations. Okay. So we have one more. Last team, Team Chester. Okay. Team Chester. Brooks will be the presenter. Mr. Brooks. Brooks, you're now the presenter.
All right. Let me see if I can get this. All right. Can we see that?
Yes, it is working. Yes.
All right. I don't know why I started on the second slide, but okay. All right, Cole, take it away.
Chester, right? I just want to remind you that you go ahead and evaluate the presentations on Canvas. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, thank you so much for being here with us. We are the Chester Company, and the team consists of me, James, Brooks, and Trent, and we'll go ahead and get started.
All right, so here is our research and development strategy. We wanted to have the best positioned product each round. We figured that it was best just since we didn't know the simulation so well, we just figured, okay, we'll get these constants and we'll retain those throughout every round so that, it's just easy to basically go back and change or fix things and know where we messed up and things like that. So yeah, we just focused on getting our products to that edge of the solid circle every round, at least one product there. And hopefully that gave us enough profit. And we introduced a new product every round up to round 5. So we had 5 products by the end of the simulation. And this let us retain a low age throughout every round. And also, of course, updating the positions each round. We started to introduce high-tech products starting in round 2. First, we had cake introduced, and since it was our first product, and it was, of course, that would be an awkward spot, just picking between low and high-tech, we decided to capture both markets, have cake at the high end of the low-tech market, while having a high price point, therefore deriving profit from both sectors, keeping a relatively good market share in both sectors, and that worked out for us. And then we changed our positions later to realize our potential and grab drastically more market share than we had before, especially with our transition of our second product to a low-tech market from a high-tech market.
Okay.
Okay, so next, you guys know marketing is very important, and understanding your market is very important. So the first thing that we did was we looked at what our market desires were and what the customer preferences were. And whenever we first introduced cake, we knew that in the low tech market, price wasn't as big, or is a big factor, but in the high tech market, it really wasn't. And so that kind of influenced our pricing strategy in the beginning. We priced things really high, and that worked out for us well whenever the market was not as saturated. But as soon as everybody started introducing multiple products, we found that it was really important to drop our price so that we could still compete. And then also we forecasted low unit sales based on the current market conditions, because that helped us have a more accurate cash position. We found that if we over forecasted, then we would have to take out an emergency loan or something like that, and that wouldn't be really helpful for us in making decisions whenever it comes to like production and finance, because they are all related. And we also increased our accounts receivable days each round just by a little bit, because that helped increase demand for our products. And another thing that was really important for us was looking at the promotion and sales budgets. Each of these budgets operate with a diminishing return after a certain point. So after $2,000 in the promotional budget, you don't receive as much customer awareness and accessibility. In the sales budget, it's $3,000. So we never invested more than that. And then after we reached 100% in accessibility and awareness, then we dropped it by a third, because that's how much it lost each round. So that $1,400 amount you see and the $2,000 amount you see in this picture helped us sustain our 100% customer awareness. And another thing that isn't mentioned here but was really important was for our products to be positioned so that they weren't overtaking one another. So we really took into account the fact that over time the customer preferences were moving down into the right bottom corner, and so all of our products were in line with that trajectory, and we tried to position them evenly across the board.
All right, good. I absolutely agree with the Trinity's point. Marketing is very, very important in this simulation, in the really too. But marketing is important, and also marketing is very, clearly categorized. Okay? So actually, during these simulations, I just recognized that you conceptually understand very well about marketing, but actually you are not ready to apply very well into the reality your knowledge in marketing. Okay, so marketing, think about that. Okay, 4 P's. Okay, 4 P's. You probably learned this. Okay, so product, price, promotion, and place. 4 P's. Okay, so marketing is all about these 4 P's. Okay, this simulation is exactly shows that good example. Okay, so think about that product. We talk about product. Okay, so where your product is in the market, this is a product. Okay, and price, I emphasize a lot the pricing strategy. Many teams are suffering from the inappropriate pricing strategy. Okay, so price is also important, and promotion, your marketing budgets. Okay? Marketing budgets. Okay? So you should have appropriate level of marketing budgets because it determines the customer accessibility. And place, Actually, we in this simulation we have only one market, so we didn't consider a lot about the place. But in the international market, if you have multiple markets, okay, all over the world, then place will be very, very important too. Okay, so actually we did some simulations in the strategic management, but this simulation can be also strategic marketing too. Okay, so now I believe your knowledge, your conceptual understanding about marketing is enough, but it's not enough to apply this knowledge into the reality. Okay, application. Okay, probably you need to think about that in your future job. Okay, because your future job requires your application, not just understanding about the concepts. Good point. Please go ahead.
All right, I'm assuming Trinity finished. Thank you, Trinity.
So yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about the production side. So we were doing really well. Rounds 3 and 4, like Dr. Khan mentioned, we were in the top 1%. And then the age-old battle between capacity and demand kind of made us have a major setback. We decided that we could grow faster than we actually could. So we invested more in capacity, and we produced way more products than we were able to sell. So at that price, anyways. So we had a lot of products on inventory for the round 6 that we didn't sell. But even given the setback, I think we had a lot of strategy in the production side anyways. It was kind of hard to understand a lot of it, but we knew we wanted to reduce labor costs. And the best way to do that within the simulation was to invest heavily in automation, especially for the low-tech products, because it didn't affect as much for how we needed to change them in R&D. We needed to change high-tech products more to keep with the times, in order to say. We also wanted to increase our capacity. Finding that balance was tough. We had to constantly reference the previous rounds, even other teams, see how they're selling, see how we were selling. We constantly looked at Digby's numbers in order to see, is that a reasonable number that we feel like we can sell, or is that just too high, or is it too low? So playing with that was something that we talked a lot about and was probably what took up most of the minutes in our meetings. Also, we wanted to use production as an educated guess. The thing with Capstone that's so hard is that it's also vague and it's also uncertain. So giving ourselves ranges was super important in order for us to be able to have conversations. So we would just talk about, well, we can't forecast anything over our production because we can't sell that anyways. So just knowing that gave us easier conversations and kind of moved the process forward. And we also wanted to invest heavily in our training hours and productivity index in order to have good quality employees. Even though we were investing heavily in automation, the employees that we did have, we wanted to make sure they were high quality.
Hey everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I had a little difficulty last round. So anyway, so on the finance tab, that's generally what we did last. We wanted to make sure throughout the rounds to increase our financial leverage. We did this by taking out the max long-term debt. And for this simulation, we only had to worry about paying back the interest since it was long-term. We didn't have to pay back the long-term. So that really helped us out. So throughout the rounds, we took out as much long-term debt as possible. We also took out some short-term loans in certain instances. We only did this to increase our leverage on the balance scorecard. So we would go back as we were making decisions and see what the balance scorecard was saying. We know that it would change a little bit when the actual simulation happened, but it kind of gave us an idea of where we were sitting and everything. So we did that. Also, we were saving all of our stock until the last round. We didn't want to sell it too early when it was really low, like the first round or so. So we wanted to wait till later, till our stock price was higher. And now it is the highest of everybody. So we were hoping to sell that. We didn't quite get that done, but that's what our plan would be if we continued with the simulation.
Yeah, so not to bore you guys by saying round one we did this, round two we did this, but just looking stock prices here, you can see that at like round four we were doing pretty good, and then we had that major setback where we had a lot of inventory on hand, and then after that we had a pretty good round and then a really good round after that. But really, what happened was we had to take out an emergency loan on round at the beginning of round five and round four because of so much inventory on hand. And it was just kind of coming back from that. I can only imagine what we would have been able to get to if we would have not taken out the emergency loan and lowered our prices a little bit earlier. But really happy with the stock price that we ended up at. And we did notice that as the rounds went on, our products became we introduced high tech products, but as the round went on, they became more like low tech products. So towards the end, we actually made the hard switch of two of our products, Coke and Cake, to make them designated low-tech products and to lower their price drastically. So that way we could sell more units and make more profit on the whole. So that's why we had some low-tech market share. And then mostly we focused on high-tech. But as our high-tech products became more obsolete, became more low-tech products. So we had to take time to make them, to kind of rebrand each item as a low-tech product as when it became more obsolete. Also, our CQM, we invested 1,000 in each category. For 2 rounds, I believe it was 5 and 6. We invested 1,000 in each category, and then we pretty much got as much return on it as we possibly could. So we no longer invested in that. That wasn't something that took us too long.
All right.
And then I would just want to add that lastly, something that was really important for our team was just referring back to the data. The fast track results were really important to us, and it was crucial for us to look at the market trends and growth rates for our competitors and to really base our decisions off of concrete numbers and feedback that we were getting, and instead of taking shots in the dark like we were in the earlier rounds. So toward the latter half of the simulation, we really started basing everything off of the data and trying to make really informed, calculated decisions. And that ultimately is what helped us have our major comeback and end up on top in some categories.
All right, great. Okay, very good insight. So I told you this is not a random game. Okay, this is about the calculations. Okay, so your prediction, your forecast is about calculations. How to calculate it? Okay, it's a very important. Okay, because most data, okay, very important data are available in this simulation. Also in the reality. Okay, if you try to find some information, data in the reality, the real industry, you can find it. All right, you can find it. I promise. Huh? So please use it in your future job. Okay, use it in your future job. Okay? Good. Any question, comment? Okay. I love your comments. I love your presentations. Okay, I love it. Okay, so I wanna announce only one thing. Okay, one point is that actually you did a great job this semester. Okay, that means actually your scores, your points are pretty much inflated. Okay, so I just looked over your numbers. Okay, I just skip it. Okay, not carefully. Okay. Then I just found that the inflated your scores. So probably the median number of your scores, total scores, will be 90 something. Okay, 90 something. Okay. So even you have 90 something scores, okay, probably you won't have A. okay? Because it's still below the median. Okay? So I'm gonna see your numbers, and I'm gonna do my best, okay, to give the generous, grade. But I still have some, guidelines of the distribution of the letter grade. So I'm gonna sit. So I'm gonna, do my best. Okay. All right. Any question, comments? All right, this semester I really enjoyed it. Okay, I'm really happy to have you as my students. Okay, so good luck. I want to say good luck on your future jobs. Okay, all right. If you have any question, any concern in your jobs, even after graduation, please let me know. If I can find a way to help you, I will. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job. Have a nice summer. Okay. Have a nice summer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Trinity. Thank you, Jensen. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, James. Thank you, Heaven. Thank you, Bricks. Thank you, Maggie. All right. I want to say thank you, actually. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. I want to say thank you. Okay. You are so great. Great students. All right. All right. Thank you, Cole. Thank you, Daniel. Okay. Thank you, Chihel. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Haley. Oh my God. Thank you, Brooks. All right. Thank you, Olivia. All right. Great. Great. I really enjoyed this class. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Morgan. Yeah. Thank you, Nish. Good. You did a great job. Yes. Thank you, Nish. Thank you, Greedily. Right. Yeah. I love you guys. Yep. Good luck on your future job. Good
You are
luck.
currently the only person in this conference.
All right. Great.